downtown now, Skyline, which is brand new, by the way. On our left, we'll see the Navy shipyards when we come back and you onto Coronado, which is ahead. You can actually see the hotel peeking out of the trees right up there if you look about 1 o'clock out the front. And you see that piece of land sticking out way out there, to your right? That is called Point Loma. Now, Point Loma is the southwesternmost tip of the continental United States. Before Hawaii and Alaska, that was the southwesternmost tip. The bridge itself, you'll see a center divider. Right now it's made of stone. In the beginning, it was just plastic cones. People in California do not respect plastic cones. They ran them over. Now nobody knew which way traffic was running. There was head-on collisions all over the place. So they came up with this machine called the zipper that twice a day will move the center divider over one lane. And by the way, this bridge is 2¼ miles long, which is kind of weird because it's only a quarter mile of harbor it's going across. Why did they build the bridge 2¼ miles? Well, the official reason is they had to make it 300 feet high for the Navy ships to get through. But unofficially, the city of San Diego found out that if you build any bridge over 2 miles, the federal government will pay for it. So that's why we just did that 90-degree turn in the middle of that bridge. That's your quarter mile. Also, the city had to come up with some money to pay some money back to the federal government, so they had toll booths, and these are the toll booths. These toll booths have been closed since 1980. Because the people in San Diego said, wait a minute, we already paid our share of the bridge. And the city said, like every city in the United States says, well, yeah, you did, but we need to pay for maintenance of the bridge. Not part of the deal. So they closed it down. But notice they never took the toll booths down. Because I know someday they're dreaming that they will reopen them. California is broke. I mean, it throws money around on weird things and then it comes up broke. So right now we're on Coronado, and Coronado has a lot of strange things about it. It's a beautiful, beautiful town. In my opinion, way more beautiful than even La Jolla, even though La Jolla sits up on the mountains and cliffs. But this has a more homey feeling to it. It's kind of like new money, where La Jolla is old money. So you get that same feel of new money. The speed limit on La Jolla is only 30 miles an hour on the main roads. All side streets are 25 miles an hour. Coronado has its own police department. They finance their police department by giving out traffic tickets for speed. Nobody in California drives 30 miles an hour. People don't pull out of their driveway doing 30 miles an hour. So what happens is you pick a car, and I guarantee he's doing over 30 miles an hour. Right now, this is called Orange Avenue. The reason why it's called Orange Avenue, when it was built, it was lined with orange trees that would connect a railroad in the center green. You see the green in the center, the Beltway? That was a railroad that would take you from Ferry Landing at the very end to the Del Coronado. Has anybody ever heard of the Del Coronado Hotel? Okay. Has anybody ever been to the Del Coronado Hotel? Oh. Does anybody want to go inside to see the Del Coronado Hotel? What? No? It was a hotel. The hotel was built in 1885. It is now the largest wooden building in the United States. It's built entirely of wood, except for the foundation, which is made of adobe clay. It's the only native building material. So everything that happened on Coronado had to do with that hotel. Anybody ever see the movie Some Like It Hot? Marilyn Monroe. For those of you under the age of 50, I highly recommend you do get to see that movie. It's still rated the #1 comedy every year, voted. But this was mostly a military town. On the far end of Coronado is a very large Navy base called North Island. Right, and that's where Top Gun 2 is all filmed. But it's still a very large military presence on Coronado. You have North Island, the Naval Air Base. Down a little bit further, you have the Navy SEALs. You have the Navy Amphibious Base as well. So it's still very, very strong, large military presence. Now Coronado itself, as I mentioned, was just a giant sandbar. In 1884, three very wealthy gentlemen were out here pheasant hunting. Babcock, Story, and Gunther, who was actually the banker. And Babcock and Story made their money in piano and railroad. So later on we're going to be going to Balboa Park, which is the largest urban park. But right here, this is San Diego's smallest park. Now you might think it's a traffic circle, but actually it has all the qualifications of a park. It has a fountain, it had a tree, it had a picnic table, and if you can probably walk across that park with maybe 20 steps. But this is all the Coronado downtown. In the summertime, there's a lot of tourists come here. As a matter of fact, 50% of the people that live on Coronado are from Arizona, and they come here in the summer. And the people on Coronado that live here year-round, they call them zonies. But this is the Dell. What I'd like to do is, if we could all take a walk inside, I want you to see, at least see the lobby. It's all mahogany. Again, the hotel is made entirely of wood.
Okay, a slight interruption here. I'm on a tour, a San Diego tour. After my Panama Canal cruise, it's Kayla from Kayla's Corner. And the first stop on the San Diego tour is Coronado Dell. So I didn't tape the whole tour from the beginning, but this tour guide is pretty informative, so I decided to jump in and start taping. These are the crowns inside the restaurant there. It's really beautiful in there. I think we're going inside, I'm not sure. So it's been a while. It's been a few years since I've been here, but I used to spend a lot of time here as a zonie, having lived in Arizona for over 35 years. But again, this is Kayla's Corner. Again, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm posting more videos. So we're inside right now. This is the lobby of the Coronado Dell. So beautiful. So yeah, I miss the trips over here to San Diego. I'm not really sure I could afford them anymore. But it's so beautiful. Oops, so it's really gorgeous out here in the garden. They still have the red and white decor out here. Of course, it's beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna, I guess, take a walk to the beach now, which is absolutely stunning. This is the interior. This is beautiful wood. Like you said, this is all wood. This is the interior stairs. Beautiful. And here you have the pool and the gorgeous beach of the Coronado Dell. Absolutely gorgeous. I do miss the vacations here. The restaurants are cooking up something really good. It smells so good.
Has a lot of legends, but probably the most famous legend of all is the ghost of Kate Morgan. Not until the early 1980s, the Del Coronado denied that it was haunted. But then they found that a lot of people came looking for ghosts, so now they advertise it. It becomes a big place at Halloween. Kate Morgan, back in the early 1900s, she was a native San Diegan girl who was engaged to be married to a merchant marine. When she went to the altar to meet her husband-to-be, he never showed up. Kate was very despondent, went back to her room in the Dell. There was a gunshot. They went in, there was Kate on the floor, a single gunshot wound to the head. She was lying on the floor, the gun next to her, suicide. But soon thereafter, people started reporting seeing a young woman all dressed in white walking the halls of the Dell. Except they could see through her. She was translucent. And that's how the first of the ghosts of the Dell came to be. Now the funny thing about Kate Morgan is in 1985, almost 100 years after she committed suicide, a pathologist in Canada compared the bullet that was taken out of Kate's brain to the gun that was found next to her. It wasn't even the same caliber. Kate Morgan didn't commit suicide. Kate Morgan was murdered. By who? Well, it turned out the guy she was going to marry was already married. So it could have been him. And also Kate was very famous with the gentleman in San Diego. So it could have been a jilted lover. But they'll never know. And that is the main ghost that takes place in the Dell. Although I know people that worked at the Dell that refuse to go into the cellar because all they see is lights and voices all around them. A lot of them feel so strongly about it, they quit. So this is called Glorietta Bay right here on the right. It's now a place where a lot of wealthy people park, dock their yachts. This was the original boathouse. The Del Coronado was very popular during Prohibition. People would come down, all the Hollywood movie stars would come down and basically dock their yachts here and they go right down to Mexico, which is a very short ride down the road. Actually, when we go back across the Coronado Bridge, you can see Mexico. I'll point it out. So right now we're going to make our way over to Balboa Park. Now Balboa Park is the largest urban park in the United States. Just to give you an idea what that means, you could fit Central Park and Golden Gate Park in Balboa Park and still have plenty of room. It was always set aside to be a park, even when we were part of Mexico. The reason why is it's just a whole bunch of flat top mesas and deep canyons in between. It had no commercial value. But Balboa Park is also called the Smithsonian of the West. And the reason why is in Balboa Park we have 14 museums, ranging anywhere from natural history, various art museums, history museums. We have the world's largest model train museum, photography museums, all sorts of things. We also have 14 award-winning gardens in the park. One of which, well, a couple of which we're going to see drive past at least. You're going to see the Cactus Garden, which has just about every species of cactus known right now to people. We're going to go past the Rose Gardens, which are also very popular. And we're going to walk probably, because I'm going to get us to take a little walk. Anybody still feel like walking? Okay, we're going to take a little walk into the main part of Balboa Park so you can see what it really looked like back when it was built. Do about 90-degree turn. You'll see it right across from us is the Navy Amphibious Base. Also, if you look out the window, you'll see the arches that support the Coronado Bridge. They're actually shaped like Mission bell towers. If you look at the silhouette on the center. And one of those towers we'll see as we go into Balboa Park is the California Parade, now the Museum of Man. And those ships out there that look like aircraft carriers, they're actually helicopter carriers. An aircraft carrier is way bigger than that. Keeps a tight ship. And they don't want anybody doing graffiti on their mules. Was very famous, became very famous actually in going back to the celebration of the opening of the Panama Canal. Now what took place, the United States government wanted to have a big party, finally the Atlantic and the Pacific were connected. Remember, going all the way back to Juan Cabrillo, 1542. They were looking for this passageway. Now they had it. And the federal government said, we're going to have a contest. San Francisco versus San Diego. Who is going to get all the federal money? San Francisco won the contest. But San Diego went ahead and had her own exposition. And that meant if the city financed it, it was an exposition that was way more attended than the one in San Francisco. Obviously, the weather had a lot to do with it. Anybody ever been to San Francisco? I'm sure. I know there's a statue in the middle of San Francisco that says the coldest winter I ever spent was the summer I spent in San Francisco. And that's from Mark Twain. Right smack in the middle of where they were going to build the exposition was a nudist colony. Now you got to remember, this is 1915. No skin was allowed to be shown by man or woman below the chin and above the ankle. And here, right in the middle of it, so they went to the city council. They said, "Listen, there's a nudist colony here, and we got to build the exposition. What are we going to do?" And they said, "Well, you have to build it around it because they have a 5-year lease." And people came. Probably most of them were disappointed, but people did come. So when we go into Balboa Park, we're going to get out by one of the museum circles. And we're just going to take a walk up to the center of the park called the Prado, which is really where all the roads meet. We're going to walk past the Spreckles Organ Pavilion. I'll point out some of the designs there. Right now, the Botanical Garden building was under reconstruction. I'm not sure if they actually finished yet. There's a whole bunch more naked corals out the window. Still maintained by the city. Now back in the day, when it's 1915, Puerto Rico was a country. So you had the Puerto Rico building up here.
So this is Balboa Park. And as he said, this was the Puerto Rican building over here. And it looks like some dancers are preparing to do a performance over there. However, I have to follow along with this cruise or I'll lose them. Or this tour, I should say. I'm done with the cruise.
This is the world's largest outdoor organ pavilion.
He said this is the largest pavilion. World's largest pavilion, my goodness.
Now, the Spreckle family left enough money to maintain this building under one condition, that every Sunday, which is today, so at some point today they're going to have it, you have to have a free organ concert.
So it's Sunday. He said on Sundays they do a free concert in here.
What do they do here? Is where the cherry trees are. They bloomed in Washington, D.C. about a week ago. They should be blooming here as well, especially with all the rain we had. Cherry blossoms.
So this is one of the canyons in Balboa Park, he said, and there's cherry blossoms down there. Zoom in. Very pretty. And this lovely building here, they tell me, represents the Alamo. It's supposed to represent the Alamo. It's gorgeous, whatever it is. Beautiful.